Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. You don't know, my name's Chad. Take a dive on sports. And in case you can't tell, I'm still sick. I got a little bad yesterday when I was planning to record this video, so I was ready to get out. So I'm still trying to battle this, taking care of, getting the medicine, get the OJ in, the OJ in. And just try to see if I can press forward. Let's just go ahead and this is going to be the Week 17 pick and preview video of the NFL action. A lot of key games are coming down to the wire. Key positions could be clinched. Chases for divisions could go a different direction. And I'll give you my picks and predictions. Kind of go over what I did last week. But before diving into all that, if you could, go ahead and smash that thumbs up for me, especially the content provider. Really pleases you two guys to help the channel out. You can also subscribe. Love you guys or review my work. I love you for doing that. And how many of you subscribe? This costs you a dime. It helps me provide more time value for you. Now, last week, I did halfway decent. I went 12-4. I went 12-4 the previous week. I went 12-4. Week 12 matchups. Week 13, I only had 3 losses, so we won't talk about week 14. That's an anomaly. So these past few weeks I've done pretty well in terms of picking. I just had that one oddball week. Every team has a off week. So let's see if we can continue this money train that I decided to put myself on, and let's kick off with an action between Dallas and Tennessee. Tennessee right now is a train wreck. And Tannehill's out. 4 starters on that defense are out. And it could be Derrick Henry's questionable. So you put everything on Malik Willis, who is a decent quarterback in this time frame at Liberty. He has shown some poise and some leadership abilities with that Tennessee locker room and on the field. They're just not translating well overall. And Dallas is one of these teams that built well together. The defense has shown question marks. Dak has made more errant throws this season, but he still put up good numbers. They have a good 1-2 running back approach. And I think Dallas overall is in a better position in this game. Right now they're favored by 13. I think that's a bit generous, but I don't think it'll be close either. It's at least going to be a 10-point win. Cowboys winning in Music City. And then we had the Bears heading to Motor City to take on the Lions. And as much as I would love to pick the Bears, if you can't tell, I might be a fan of theirs. This season is just an abysmal display of this team. The only highlight that they have is Justin Fields has become a huge weapon for that offense. However, he's like the only weapon in that offense. The offensive line can't stop a nosebleed. It's a terrible aspect. Now Detroit's got to bounce back of their huge letdown they had down in Charlotte, where the Panthers just ran the ball. The Bears don't have the same type of running attack as Carolina does, nor the offensive line to kind of produce some of those holes. And the Bears' secondary will be shredded by Goff. And Detroit's favored by 6. I don't see any change in that. Lions win, put pressure on the rest of the NFC for that wild card position. Then we head down to hot Atlanta, where the Battle of the Birds are not in the playoffs. Go at it with the Falcons hosting the Cardinals. The Cardinals, Colt McCoy should be starting once again. He should be clearing concussion protocols. Brother is just a decent quarterback in Cincinnati. He hasn't quite found his niche right yet with this offense. Both these teams are just going the wrong direction. They're just falling apart at the seams. Right now, Atlanta's favored by 3. I'll give it more to Arizona because of McCoy. If McCoy can stay upright, he's a very decent quarterback. He'll find DeAndre Hopkins, give him the ball. J.J. Watt should be tearing it up as well, as he's hinted at this is his swan song of the last couple of games. He already hinted that last week was his last home game, and this kid's first game. So, but I'll give this one to Arizona, just barely squeaking this one out. Then we went over to Kansas City as they play host to Denver, and Denver will be without Hackett as a head coach. He got the hatchet because he put so much money in Russell Wilson. You have to cut someone, and you're not going to give rid of someone that you pay $250 million to. Head coach goes. They're going against Kansas City. There's nothing that can happen with Denver. Denver probably will put up some points. They did it last time when they battled off in Denver. That Mahomes made some errant throws that turned him to set up Denver quite nicely. I have a feeling it's going to happen again, but it's just too much Kansas City, too many weapons that Mahomes can throw to. That it's hard to stop one because you got 4 players who can catch the ball and do things. So, but yeah, definitely Kansas City winning at home. Then we have the Foxborough where the Dolphins come to town. The Dolphins right now are going in the wrong direction. Now, they had some bad games over there on the West Coast, which is evident. They had a really good game against Buffalo, they end up losing. And that game gets Green Bay at the end, three last drives, through interceptions and all those tries, pretty much nullifying them winning that game. You can't do that with New England either. New England will find ways to be able to pick you apart. And Tua's shown that he can play in the cold. That was a big factor with that Buffalo game. He proved that he can do it. And even though everything's pointing towards New England winning this game because of the weather, they're favored by 3. Miami's going the wrong direction. If Miami could go back to that running attack they did against the Bills with the Patriots, they'll help open up short passing games, bring up the confidence of Tua, and then help alleviate, open up more passing opportunities where you actually throw it downfield, hit his 2 start receivers who could do amazing things with the ball once they get in their hands. And I think the Dolphins will actually win in New England. Over to MetLife where the Giants play host to the Colts. The Colts are just a hot mess right now. They can't. Matt Ryan, I think he's on his last leg of his NFL career. I think that's why Atlanta just kind of let him go. They saw it was coming. He hasn't really been the same. I know what's some of the major issues with the Colts is Jonathan Taylor hasn't really produced what he's been doing prior. Now he's gone. They have no running attack. Offensive line is poor as the defense shows spots of brilliance. I mean, look what they did with Minnesota in the first half of that game. And then the defense just went away. You'll take on the Giants team. Saquon Barkley has resurrected his career after many, many years of being out. Matt Jones is just a decent quarterback. He should be able to do just enough to facilitate a good drive, especially when you got Barkley making big runs. The Giants are favored by 6. This is going to be a 3-point victory, but I'm also going with the G-Men. Then you have the Saints going into Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, who will be without Jalen Hurts. He's still recovering from his shoulder injury he suffered at Soldier Field in Chicago. It was his thrown shoulder. Minshew stepped in his shoes quite nicely against the Cowboys and hung up 34 points on the Cowboys. There's some issues with turnovers, so they got to clean that up. But you got to think he hasn't started in a while, so you're going to have some games like that. But they're taking on a Saints team that's no pushover either, so they should be able to put up some decent points. I gave Minshew a little issues, but I still think Philadelphia still be able to find ways to win this one. If they win it, they clinch the division, they clinch the 1 seed, give Hurts more time to rest that shoulder, which also could be a disadvantage to him later on. But I don't take Philadelphia to win. Right now they're favored by 5.5. I think it's going to be closer. I think also be like a 3-point victory, but I will let the Eagles fly. In a huge showdown at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, where the Buccaneers play host to the Panthers. The Bucs need to win this one to punch their ticket. Win the South. That way they can rest their players at last week so they can start playing that playoff game at home. Carolina has come back and just been a tear lately. Over 300 yards rushing against the Lions, the best ever in franchise history. Sam Darnold has just all of a sudden found himself once again. And this Tampa Bay team is just one of these teams that doesn't scare you. Now, the thing that helps them out is, one, you're having Tom Brady, which always gives you an advantage. But two, their defense is a bend don't break. I mean, they'll cough up plays, but once you get in the red zone, they only allow you to get field goals, which allows the scores to be close, which allows Tom Brady to make these miraculous fourth quarter comebacks and beat you. I am going to go with Carolina to head down there and beat Tampa Bay and run the ball. Right now, Tampa's favored by 3. I think it's going to be one of these games that go either way. But the way Carolina's playing, I'll give them the advantage and then put the whole NASCAR division on its heels. And we could have a year where Brady and Rodgers both don't make the playoffs. That would be a shocker. But I'll give it to the Panthers in this one. It'll be a close game. It should be fun to watch. The D.C., where the Commanders take on the Browns. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. Commanders will have Carson Wentz as their starter. More likely to be starter for the rest of the season. Deshaun Watson still trying to throw off the rust he has. Cleveland does have Chubb as their primary running back, but McLaren for the Commanders should be, doing a good battle with Amari Cooper, the two receivers on the opposite sides. Should put up some fantastic numbers. Washington's favored by 2. I like that. I will also go with Commanders winning and trying to get them into the playoffs for the first time in a few years. And then head down to H-Town, where Houston had a huge win at Nashville that I call. We'll play host to the resurgent Jaguars, who are now currently in the lead in the AFC South. And Jacksonville's favored by 4. It's going to be closer than that. I think Houston will take it to them. Look what they did against Dallas. They should have beat the Cowboys. They should have beaten the Chiefs. Lost to them in overtime. Went to Tennessee and won. Now they're hosting the Jaguars. I mean, they could actually pull off the upset and knock off Jacksonville in this one as well. It's just, this team's starting to kind of believe themselves a little bit here and there. Now, do I think they have, talent-wise, do they match up with Jacksonville? No, they don't. They just have tenacity. They play as a team. They just work well together. I think Jacksonville is just too talented, especially on that offense with three-headed monster with Trevor Lawrence, Antonine, and Kirk. It's going to be too much for the Texans' defense to kind of stop all three of those aspects. And I will give the Jaguars the win. Right now, they're favored by 4. It's going to be closer. I think it's going to be like a 2-point victory. Probably be a fourth quarter comeback by Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, but I will give it to Jacksonville. Then we have to Las Vegas, where the Raiders will play host to the 49ers. And Derek Carr has been benched for Stidham. What? I think the Raiders have just totally tossed this season out the window. It's not completely Derek Carr's fault how this season has gone. If you look at what they had last year to this year, odds are they're supposed to have been a better team this year. What changed? The head coach. They're bringing Josh McDaniels, figure he can have a second coming in AFC West and try to, prove that he's a good head coach. He might be just an offensive guru, and that's his niche. That's where he's at. Put him that head coaching aspect, and he looks like he just doesn't know how to do anything because you have Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, Well, their bromance kicking off once again, going from Central Valley to Sin City. These guys should be tearing up the league, and some days they do. The Raiders team is just in complete disarray. 49ers coming over with a third-string quarterback. Purdy is just molded in great with Shanahan's offense. He's plugged himself in. He's got confidence. He's got support of the players on the offense, especially Kittle. Kittle loves him. Of course, he throws more to Kittle than anyone else, but I think the 49ers will have a field day. It's right now 49ers favored by 10. Yeah, I'll take that too, and I'll take 49ers winning in Vegas. Then we head up to Seattle, where the Seahawks play host to the Jets, and the Jets is another team that's on a terrible slide right now. A lot of it deals with quarterback play. He's just not, I don't know, they're getting him the right offensive setup that he had at the beginning of the season compared to now. Maybe the injury took him out of his mindset a bit, being benched. But Zach Wilson is not the savior, as some people have proclaimed he is. And with Seattle, it's just another one of these quality teams that could just pick your way up there. Geno Smith also resurrected his career. Has a great running attack with Walker. You still have DK Metcalf as his top receiver. And, I think Lockett's out. But right now, the Jets are favored by 1.5 because of that defense. And the Jets defense is the highlight of this team. However, I don't think the Jets defense is going to stop them. Zach Wilson's going to make some issues in this one, and I think the Seahawks will end up winning this one by that 1.5 margin. So I'm going with Seattle to win at home. And then a huge game there in Green Bay as the Packers play host to the Vikings. Can Green Bay's miraculous run continue? Remember, Green Bay has to win every single game to get in there. And they have to have the Giants and the Commanders and the Lions and the Seahawks all lose. Well, I've already said the Commanders and Giants are winning already, as well as Seattle. Kind of puts their position in question. Minnesota has been living on the edge the past few weeks. I mean, that game against the Colts, when they were just getting obliterated in one half, all of a sudden turned around and just came back to win. Against the Giants, they struggled, and they'll look to find ways to win. Now, playing outdoors will probably benefit more with Green Bay. I mean, you still have Aaron Rodgers, but not having Watson in this game could hamper the deep ball threat of the Packers. The Packers' defense has actually improved, which can give Kirk Cousins some issues and can either hamper his passing attack or Delvin Cook's rushing attack. But I think there's too many weapons of Minnesota for me to take them seriously. And and they've had the tendencies to make comeback victories. I don't think Green Bay is going to make the playoffs with this current setup. I think they're going the right direction now, but I think it's too late. Green Bay's favored by 3.5, which I can understand why. I'm going to take Minnesota to beat them at home and officially eliminate Green Bay from the postseason. I think it's one of these two games that Green Bay is going to end up losing, and I was going to pick them here now, just kind of see how things kind of go. But yeah, I think it's just one of those weird things. Then we head down to the Battle of L.A. between the Rams and Chargers. Chargers the home team. You got Herbert taking on Baker Mayfield. That's a weird thing to say, but Baker. I mean, last week against Denver, the Rams just looked phenomenal. Don't expect that again. Expect what you got against the Raiders. That's the type of that the offense is going to be happening with the Rams against the Chargers. The Chargers ended up winning last week despite Herbert not throwing a touchdown and throwing a pick. So I think it's going to be a running game between these two teams. So it should be really fun to watch these two go at it. The Chargers favored by 6.5. I think it'll be closer, but I will take the Chargers to win the Battle of Los Angeles and solidify their playoff position. And a huge matchup on Sunday night between the Ravens and the Steelers. And even though the Ravens are in the playoffs, but they're still battling for that division title. Pittsburgh is trying to avoid a losing season for the first time under Tomlin's tenure. I've already said they're going to have a losing season this year, but they keep winning every time I say that. But Baltimore is not the same team. They have some issues here and there. I mean, Roquan Smith is a good addition on the defense they got from Chicago. Huntley is a decent quarterback. He's no Lamar Jackson. I mean, you got Kenny Pickett, who does a pretty decent job himself with the Steelers, and you got T.J. Watt being a menace. So all in all, I think these two teams are very similar. It's just circumstances have made Baltimore's season a little bit better than Pittsburgh's. Right now, Baltimore's favored by 2.5. I'm good with the Steelers. I think the Steelers will come in there and shock Baltimore, probably beat them by a late second field goal because they got the better kicker, I believe. And actually, no, Tucker's better. Excuse me. I'm sick. But, yeah, I think Pittsburgh will sneak out that victory. Monday night, the Monday night game that everyone wanted. The Buffalo Bills are getting to the jungle, take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Two of the premier teams in the AFC right now. And Cincinnati has a position where they can actually be the number one team in the conference. Remember, they already beat Kansas City already. They beat Buffalo. They just need Kansas City to lose one more game, and they're the number one team. How crazy is that? The Bengals right now are flying high offensive-wise. They struggled last week, which was kind of a surprising aspect when they did New England. They just couldn't do anything that second half. But Buffalo hasn't been extremely dominant either. I mean, they struggled earlier in Chicago and then just, pushed them aside at the second half. But, of course, that's Chicago. The previous week, they were, I'm trying to look at my notes over here, so that's why I'm looking down. For the life of me, I can't seem to find it. There they are, Miami. Battle of Miami and struggling against the Dolphins at home in the cold. So I'm looking at this one. It's going to be a very good game between Burrow and Josh Allen. The running back should be very key as well. I mean, they both have great receiving cores. It's going to come down to defense. And I think right now Cincinnati's defense is playing a little bit better than Buffalo's right now. And I'll give the advantage to Cincinnati. Buffalo right now is favored by 1, so really this is like a kind of a pick'em game. I'm picking Cincinnati to win at home and put the pressure on the rest of the AFC. Between the big three in the AFC, that's the Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals. Who is going to come out on top to be the number one seed? I think it's going to be important. I think Buffalo really wants the number one seed, but losing to Cincinnati, we're just going to hamper that aspect and should make the final week of the season very, very interesting indeed. Well, those are my picks. What do you think? How much did I really go off the reservation on this one? I see a few games going either way, but with this being said, I think when things come down to the wire, I think Green Bay will not make the playoffs. I still think Tampa Bay is still going to win the division, but they'll have to wait till the last week of the season. The AFC South will be decided the final week of the season because you got Jaguars, Titans going at it. You still got those other wild card positions. Now, I think the Giants and Commanders might actually make it in and have all 4 from the East get in. That should be wild. But only time will tell how this one pans out. And just let me know down below what you think. Are your Super Bowl favorites still in there? Has your team been officially eliminated from playoff contention? The Bears are going to be in hibernation once the season is over. So they're probably going to watch the Super Bowl. And while you're down there making those comments, if you could share this video once with your friends and family, it helps support this channel out. You can also make sure you hit the thumbs up. once you subscribe, make sure you click that bell icon and turn on your notifications until next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.